Betty has fast withdrawals, so I had to check, and now I totally get the hype.
So I went to check out what people say about Betty, and yep, it's rated 4.4 stars on Trustpilot. People love it, and it's fully regulated in Ontario, so no budget. I signed up out of curiosity, and now I just love it. I love that Betty.ca is built for Ontario players. No sketchy stuff, just slots and smooth payouts. Now I see why the reviews are higher. Click the link below.
still chance of success seemed to work based on how injured the vampires were that he used it against. Yet there had still been cases when it had failed against a vampire who had been close to death. Quinn's happiness was short-lived, though, as he looked around and the number of masks that were near the open area still hadn't decreased. Were they trying to get past me and head to where the dragon landed from earlier? Quinn wondered. Once the island had shook, the vampires had suddenly stopped defeating Quinn and instead had attempted to run right past him. Rather than going after the mask, Quinn decided to throw out his Shadow Eater skill. Thinking back, Quinn remembered the strange shadow that had appeared when he saw Arthur use his skill. He wondered if this was a shape Arthur chose, due to how far away the person was who he wanted to use the skill on. In Quinn's mind, a certain bird formed. Now, leaving from his hand, the Shadow Eater's skill looked slightly different from before, going out in the shade of a small black raven. It also looked to be moving faster in this new form, and when it nearly reached the mast, it opened its mouth wide, the shadow expanding far larger than the mast itself. A few seconds later, and it fell to the floor screaming in pain as it felt the suffering of being in the sun. 12 MC cells consumed. That mask wasn't even injured, and the Shadow Eater skill still worked, but it's still a little slower than hitting them myself. Quinn felt a mask coming directly towards him. This time, instead of wounding it, he had acted on instinct, using his full strength to pound it away. He threw an overhead punch, and his first landed straight in the mask, cracking it. The mask broke off, and the vampire was no longer alive. Why? Why, even though I feel like I'm getting stronger? Why do I not feel any better? Quinn thought. He had hoped that fighting would keep his mind off things, but in his current condition, the mask proved to be too easy an opponent. This left Quinn free to think about other things, mostly the fact that he didn't even know which one of his friends had died, and that once again, he had failed to protect them. Not to mention he felt responsible for bringing them all here. Quinn, wait! I think I saw something when you broke off that man's mask just now. Did you take the mask off of another one? Vincent asked. Of course, with the weight Quinn was now, and even before it wasn't too much trouble, he easily grabbed the face of one of the masks, who was too weak to resist, and quickly ripped the mask off his face. All right, one more, please, Vincent asked. His tone seemed strange, but Quinn knew Vincent would ask him to do that without any reason, which was why he didn't mind doing this one, and as well. This confirms it. They all look like Jim. They must be his clones, Vincent claimed. Jim, as in your old vampire knight, Jim, your Uncle Jim, who we suspect to be behind this whole mess? I knew that Eno could create clones, but how is it possible for Jim to create this many? Quinn asked, now also checking the faces of those he had defeated. Our ability is a strong one, Quinn, and honestly sometimes it is not just how great the mind can be, but also how fast. Quinn, if it isn't all possible, please allow me to talk to him, Vincent requested. Brock's arm he could attack with. Seeing this, Jim was unable to hold in his laughter. You are finished, Jim declared, and the next second the other six-spiked Dalky was on his side and rushed over to where Brock was. Seeing this with his one good hand, Brock opened up the palm, and a large red ball of glory could be seen gathering. As the Dalky was running straight forward, Brock knew for sure that the attack would hit. Releasing the attack, Brock's arm lifted in the air. Dalky could be seen standing there, having skidded across the ground a few feet back. For you to have managed to push a six-spiked Dalky all the way back here, the power of a former royal knight is indeed strong. Unfortunately for you, it still isn't enough to actually injure him, Jim taunted. Watching the whole thing from the side was Richard, who was still using the power of the red aura blood armor to block the Dalky's attack. Since the first punch had failed, the Dalky tried again with another punch. No matter how often he repeated it, each time it would just hit the invisible wall of red aura, creating new ripples. These Dalky are too much for Brock to handle, and that shield, we need to know what else it can do before we go against it. Lifting up one hand, a portal appeared above where Eno was, and an object was seen dropping from the sky. Now in his hand, he held a giant lance that was spinning as he held it. Even now, as he did nothing, it continued to give off a strange red glow. There are different ways for us to use our abilities. For me, I use them to create the strongest item I possibly could, Eno said, as he thrusted the lance forward, and the spire on his head was no longer glowing. The lance went straight for the Dalky that saw its chance to attack him. The Dalky, with its newfound power, decided to try to grab the lance, but as soon as it did, it felt its skin ripping from its hard scales on its hands. Feeling its power tall person standing there to greet them. I expected that you would come eventually. It sounds like things have gotten rough out there, Logan said, leading the way inside. The group noticed the turrets he had set up, and he showed them where the teleporter was. There have been no signs of the enemy coming this way, most likely because the temple is too far away from where the demon tier and the tablet were. Their group seems to be focusing only on their goal, which made my job easier. Why haven't you turned on the teleporter, Green? Mona asked Logan. That six-spike donkey that took out my Kraken has managed to knock down the dragon. After they're done, they'll most likely come after us, and I doubt they'll be interested in capturing us. We shouldn't waste any more time and should be getting out of here. It's on standby to avoid risking the enemy picking up anything to locate it. Besides, I can see that not everyone is present. First, we should discuss what to do. I can't risk anyone panicking, going through and destroying the teleporter on the other side. That would be disastrous for all of us still on the island, Logan explained. What do you mean? Agent 11 questioned. I thought we came here for all of us to just go through the teleporter. That other beast said he was getting one of you guys to bring him here, so what's the problem? It at least seemed like Mona and Agent 11 were on the same wavelength, but as for the rest of them, they looked at each other and it seemed like they all had already made up their mind. Layla stood forward as if she was able to speak for the others. Quinn's shadow ability might allow him to return to the cursed faction at any point and time, and I honestly couldn't care less about Eno and his servant, but I still worry about Vorden and Peter. There's a chance that they might not be able to meet with Quinn. This could be the only way for them to come back. I will be staying here, protecting this place until the two of them return. We've already lost one person in our group. I don't want to lose any more. The others just nodded along with what Layla had said. They were going to stay on the island and protect the teleporter until their friends would return, so they could escape together. So does that mean we all stay here? Logan asked. Agent 11 raised his hand, but as quick as he did, Fex gave him a nudge. You don't get a say in this. As my puppet, you'll have to go everywhere I go. I can't stay, guys. Mona shook her head. I understand that you won't care for each other, and truly I envy you for your camaraderie, but I didn't come here because of a higher calling. I came to repay a favor, and I feel like I have done more than enough. I have cheated death twice already, so I don't wish to push my luck any further. Once they capture that dragon, and believe me, they will, it wouldn't surprise me if they destroy this island outright. If you're lucky, they might come looking for us before that, though. They shouldn't know anything about this teleportation yet, so they'll assume we're on the island. Your people might be here, but I have people waiting for me too. The others agreed that it was unfair for them to ask Mona to stay. However, she was a strong ally for the group. Her staying behind would increase their chances of survival, but nobody felt it fair to ask that much of her. Can you at least take them? Sam asked. Please take them back to the cursed ship. Inform Megan and she will know what to do. Mona looked at the large box that had Weevil's body inside, and Linda, who had been placed on a few cushions that had been found in the room. It will be my pleasure, Mona replied. I believe Snakey and the gorilla to both of you to help out as much as possible. They seem to have grown a liking to your group. If possible, bring them back. When the Rosius tree had been destroyed, the king had naturally disappeared from the gorilla, but due to how helpful it had been,
scrolling, I found the list. Ever wonder what songs everyone in Ontario is talking about right now? Here's what everyone's playing. Cash Eruption, Gates of Olympus 1000, Sweet Bonanza 1000, 12 Masks of Fire Drums, Seven's Wild, Chinchy Bouncy, Endless Treasure, Gold Blitz Ultimate, Cleopatra, Blazing Bison Gold Blitz Extreme, Letting Box Canal. They're all on betting.ca, which is Ontario regulated and built just for slot lovers. Super easy to start, just a $1 minimum deposit, and if you win, you can cash out